to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Speaks, and I'm joined today by Prashant 𝗧𝗜𝗦𝗧𝗦 of Elite Income Advisors and our very special guest, Gary 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗔𝗠𝗣, all the way from Chattanooga, Tennessee, with Guardian Investment Advisors. Prashant, how are you today?
I am doing excellent. I'm fired up. I've been looking forward to having my good friend Gary on the show to hear about what's going on. So today's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
A lot of fun.
It's going to be great. Gary, how are you?
I am doing so good. I'm so good. And I'm like Prashant. We've been talking about doing this show together for a while, so I think we're going to have a blast.
We are going to have so much fun. To our viewers at home, these are two of my favorite gentlemen on the planet. They're amazing. I've had the blessing of working with both of them for many years. They're incredible friends. But even more than that, they are actually amazing financial advisors who truly care about their clients. So let's see how this collaboration goes today. Prashant, what was the idea about bringing Gary on the show today?
You know, through the work that we do, I've been so fortunate to get to meet a lot of really, really excellent professionals and advisors. And I think sometimes we get caught up in our own bubble of what's going on in our own local areas. And so I like talking to other superstar advisors like Gary so that we can figure out what's going on in your part of the country, Gary. So, talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing in Tennessee in terms of people's major concern when they come in to visit with you. What is that appointment typically driven by? What's causing people to come in and visit with you?
Yeah, I think the most that we see now, it all relates back to income planning for the most part. I think the number one fear in America is running out of money.
Yeah.
And people are worried about that. And now all of a sudden we're in an election year again.
Yeah.
So, that's a hot topic right now. We've had crazy inflation, Prashant, in Baltimore and in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And to be honest with you, the one thing and the one message I'm giving my clients right now is tax prep. We need to do some tax planning because I'm really fearful of what's coming down the pipeline with our taxes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you brought up income planning as the very first thing, right? Like we say in our office, I don't know how you frame it with your client, but look, I always say while you're working, your financial life is just money in and money out, right? Your paycheck comes in, your expenses go out, and you try to do your best to save as much money as you possibly can. And when you get to retirement, that doesn't change. It's still so very much about the money that comes in, the money that goes out. But what changes is where that paycheck comes from, right?
True.
Yes, and something that I'm a little fearful of is what if our clients end up paying more taxes in retirement than they did when they were actually working?
Wow.
Because I think we all agree, I do think taxes are going to go up. Of course, they sunset at the end of 2025.
Right.
So now's the time to be preparing for some of that. You can make some moves now with your qualified accounts out there and maybe get some tax-free, but income planning is the number one fear in America, Prashant. I mean, longevity risk is a real thing. We're living longer.
So with the threat of taxes going up, talk to me about maybe 2 or 3 of the most popular strategies that folks in Tennessee are actually taking advantage of to proactively reduce your future tax liability.
Yeah, one of the biggest things we're doing right now, of course, are Roth conversions.
Okay.
We're sitting down, we're having conversations. Now, we are very diligent about this because I really don't want to jump their tax bracket up.
Yeah, it's important.
And I see so many other advisors I have where they just take the whole lump sum of money and go, and I don't believe in that. I think we have this year and next year to maybe convert some of those taxable dollars to tax-free dollars in Roth conversions. Take advantage of the taxes while they're low. Taxes are on sale right now.
Absolutely.
Taxes are on sale, so take advantage of it right now, and let's start doing some Roth conversions. And of course, another thing we talk to people about is, putting them in some tax-deferred accounts. I mean, the majority of the money in Baltimore and in Chattanooga, Tennessee is wrapped around some type of IRA, 401k.
Yeah.
You made a deal with Uncle Sam. I'm not going to pay you now. I'm going to pay you later. And if we're worried about taxes going up later, that scares me a little bit for our clients, Prashant.
It really goes against the conventional wisdom of what we have been taught, right? We were always taught the best way to save for retirement is to use your 401k or your IRA or your thrift savings plan if you're with the federal government. But the issue is that was because we thought we'd be in a lower tax bracket in retirement. I love what you're saying. I totally agree with it. More and more, we're finding on a case-by-case basis when we design these income plans for folks, we're actually finding, Cynthia, that their tax bracket in retirement is actually projected to be higher than the bracket that they were in while they were working. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about people that are earning $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 today, and yet their tax bracket will still potentially be higher in retirement. And that is a scary, scary thing, because look, at the end of the day, higher taxes means less income in your pocket.
That's right.
Less income in your pocket means that you have to start to withdraw more and more to meet your income goal. It puts you at a greater risk of running out of money, which is where we started this conversation.
That's right.
That's true. And Gary, you mentioned obviously it's important right now within the next couple of years. What's happening in a couple of years that people should be aware of that could be changing as far as taxes go?
Yeah, so the current tax law sunset at the end of 2025. You know, so we do have 2024 and 2025. And when I say taxes are on sale, they're on sale right now. Now, I do think a lot of the future taxes have to do with the election this year. I really do. But either way, I don't think we have a choice. Our government has one source of income. One, taxes. And we are at an all-time high national debt. We're adding debt now. We're adding $2 more trillion this year. Just the interest alone, Prashant, is $1 trillion. So you got to do some tax planning. To have a great income plan, you got to have a tax plan with it.
And one thing that's really interesting is taxes are on sale for the next, 2 years. But what happens after that? I think you can't set up a plan today and then just forget about it for the future, right? You have to be able to perform maintenance on these plans, because, look, January 1 of 2026, our thoughts may be totally different. It may not be favorable to do Roth conversions in 2026 when tax rates go up. So, look, I know our audience is concerned about this. I love talking to advisors all over the country because it gives us a sense of what other people are going through. You're probably sitting at home thinking, wow, what if my taxes go up? What happens to my retirement income? Most importantly, where is my paycheck going to come from in retirement? Folks, you are not alone. There's people in Tennessee and all over the country going through exactly what you're going through right now. We're going to help you with this. All you have to do is pick up the phone and dial 833-308-5200. Now, when you pick up the phone and dial that number, you'll get to go through what we call our Retire Smart Road Mapping process. The Retire Smart Roadmap will create for you an income for life plan. We'll show you how much income you're going to have coming in each and every month and year for the rest of your life, and will account for the threat of rising inflation and rising taxes. We'll also do a Social Security optimization report for you, as well as a portfolio stress test. When you have these three things combined together, you have a real financial plan that you can fall back on. It's called the Retire Smart Roadmap. It starts with you making that phone call for that free, no obligation consultation with my team at Elite Income Advisors.
Prashant, thank you so much. And Gary, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is 833-308-5200. As you can see from today's show, that all of the questions and concerns that you may have, people have across the country as well. You deserve to have peace of mind with your retirement. This is the perfect opportunity to call in, have that Retire Smart Roadmap drawn for you so you know how to navigate through the retirement years. Once again, 833-308-5200. If you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it, click on that QR code that will take you right to Elite Income Advisors landing page. You can book your time accordingly. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We have Prashant and our very special guest, Gary, when we return.
Some people don't really know what they need. It's not about the money. It's more like what you like to do when you retire.
I always say to people, our process is not really designed to turn every single person into a client. We're just trying to determine whether or not we're the right fit for you. When we talk with someone, it's about determining what our goals and dreams and objectives are, and then really putting together a concrete, balanced plan with a strong foundation of income.
Not everyone comes to the office becomes a client, right? You know, we may not be a good fit for that people.
Anytime you're working with any advisor or considering working with an advisor, you have to align on certain things. But that doesn't happen with every single person that we meet with.
Whatever is going to make you happy, because there is so much time in the retirement that you can still be active and doing a lot of stuff. And at the end, if you have all the income you need coming in to do all the things you love, then I believe that you're in great shape.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Speaks, joined today by Prashant Sabapathy of Elite Income Advisors and our very special guest all the way from Chattanooga, Tennessee, Gary 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗔𝗠𝗣𝗏 Gary and Investment Advisors. Gentlemen, a great show we're having today. Obviously, such amazing energy, talking about things that are so important. Planning properly for retirement. Well, so often, you know that people get stuck. They get stuck in a rut. They're afraid to make a change. They're not sure what direction they should truly go in. So my question would be, if someone's in the viewing audience today and they're unsure of where they are on their retirement path, how important is it to have a second opinion? Prashant?
Look, I grew up in the medical world, right? And I feel like in the medical world, you're always getting a second opinion. So I was taught from when I was 5 years old, always get the second opinion, right? And so we do that with our health. Why don't we do that with our wealth, right? It just makes sense. Even if that means that you come in and visit with an advisor, whether it's us or anybody else, you come in, you visit, and maybe that actually confirms that what you're doing is correct. All you did was took some time out to verify that your plan works. But what happens so often, Gary, you can talk about how often you see this type of thing. We have people come in and we start talking about things that their current advisor has never talked to them about. Things like taxes. One of the things I love about Gary's practice is you're heavily involved in the Medicare space, which I know advisors are not talking about. And so how important is something like Medicare as a part of your overall retirement plan?
It's here. I just wrote a note for something you said, because you said the word health. You know, why have wealth if you don't have your health? I mean, seriously. And when it comes to Medicare planning, what we have seen over the last few years is that people are not on the right plans. You know, they're calling the 800 number, or they're calling, you know, the robo-advisor to get their Medicare plan. That person doesn't know you. They don't know your area. They don't know anything you're doing. And that's why I'm blessed to have Tanner on my team. Because he sits down and he educates people on which Medicare plan they should be on. I mean, you know the study about Fidelity. A healthy average 65-year-old couple, Cynthia, they're going to spend $315,000 in medical bills.
Wow.
That's not including long-term care, which is part of our planning as well. That's scary to me. $315,000 just to pay for your prescriptions and your co-pays and things like that. Health care is huge in retirement planning.
It absolutely is. And so that's why it's so important to get that second opinion. And it's important that your plan is comprehensive, that it's coordinated, and that it's customized. Those are my 3 C's of retirement planning. All of this stuff works together. I'll tell you what, 30 years ago, people had a pension. Social Security plus the pension gave them all the income on average that they needed to retire. Any money that they'd done a good job saving, you could put it into a bank, make 10%, 15% safely without any risk.
And a toaster. You got a toaster.
Or a good watch. Or a good watch,
That's right.
So now what has happened is there's been what I call the wealth effect, right? Pensions start to go away. Social Security represents a smaller piece of the income pie chart. And so now that responsibility is shifted, right? Shifted from employer to employee. And now people are having to save their own money and coordinate it with taxes, healthcare, insurance, legacy planning in order to have that comprehensive plan.
And that all changed in the early 80s. You know, because the early 80s is when we introduced America to 401ks. And listen, I love 401ks, especially if a client is getting a match on their 401k. That's free money. That's the best money in the world. But they were not educated. First of all, they just became investors in the market, and most didn't know what they were doing. But they were not educated on the taxes that's going to happen down the road. Prashant, I still have clients come in today. Just last week, I'm going to tell you a quick story. He had $1 million in his 401k. He is set, right? He goes, Gary, I got $1 million. It's going to last me for the rest of my life. I said, is it? Have we paid any taxes on this money yet? He went, didn't even think about that.
Wow.
I mean, so him coming to us was a blessing for him because we're going to be able to strategize and help him out there. But people don't think about a 401k is not a written plan.
No, it's
not. A 401k. It's a vehicle.
It's just an account. It's an account. So how does that integrate with the rest of what you're doing? So very important.
It really, truly is. And I also have to think about what about the different phases that people go through in life. Having a second opinion, maybe you're working with someone who helped you with the accumulation phase of life. But how important is it overall, Prashant, to work with someone in the distribution phase of life when that time comes? It's a totally different vehicle.
Yeah, it definitely is. And look, having a specialist is really important. I go back to my medical analogies and I always say, look, if you have a heart problem, what doctor are you going to go see? You're probably going to try to find the best cardiologist in town and go see that individual, right? You're not going to go see your orthopedic doctor for a heart problem. Why would you go to your accumulation advisor for a distribution issue, right? Yeah. When you get to retirement, the responsibility has shifted to you to make that money last the rest of your life. Are you going to work with the person who's helped you accumulate it, or are you going to go to the specialist to help you distribute it? And by the way, I'm sure you get this a lot, but people come to visit with us and they've been working with their advisor for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And there's nothing wrong with being able to leave that advisor. It doesn't mean that they're bad at their job or that they're not well-intentioned. It just may mean that they're not specialized to help you with exactly what you need help with at this point in time. You tell this great story about Tiger Woods. Why don't you tell our audience about the analogy? I love it.
Tiger was, amazing, right? Well, he did, but he just broke up a 27-year relationship
27 years.
with Nike, who paid him millions of dollars, right?
Yes.
But, you know, Tiger is at a different phase of his life. Just like when you get to a certain age, you're at a different phase in your life. Accumulation may not be the most important thing. Preservation may be the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And I love that, you know, how you guys do your income planning, Prashant, because you put that plan together so people actually understand it. And then they can live every day like a Saturday. They don't have to stress anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So look, if you are concerned about, hey, I'm not sure if my advisor is the right advisor, that's why we offer this complimentary visit, folks. All you have to do is pick up the phone, give us a call. It's 833-308-5200. When you come in to visit with us, we'll help you demystify the retirement planning process. It's almost like putting together a financial puzzle, and you have to make all of your different puzzle pieces fit together. How do I coordinate Social Security with my spouse? What about the taxes that I'm going to end up paying in retirement? Are they going to go up? What about inflation? Does my retirement income actually increase each and every year to keep up with inflation? How much risk am I actually taking in my portfolio? We have to be able to work through these things. When you have this Retire Smart roadmap, we will take you through each and every one of these things. And look, at the end of the process, if we're a good fit for each other, maybe there will be an opportunity for us to work together. If not, there's no hard feelings. You don't owe us anything. It is a totally complimentary process. But all we can do is provide this service. It's on you to pick up the phone and give us a call. It's 833-308-5200. Claim that free appointment. Go through the Retire Smart road mapping process and get the confidence and security that you need to retire in your most fulfilling way.
Prashant, thank you. Gary, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is 833-308-5200. As Prashant mentioned, he's giving you the opportunity to demystify all of the things that are around retirement that are confusing to you. Let them be easy to understand. And speaking of which, I do have to talk really quickly about Prashant's book. I love this book, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. If you're looking for an educational piece about how to plan your retirement, this book is quite amazing. It's easy to understand and written by the very amazing Prashant 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗦. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Retire Smart Maryland. Don't go anywhere. I have so much more with Prashant and Gary about how to plan your perfect, holistic, stress-free retirement when we return.
My philosophy is that losses hurt more than gains help. And it's all about creating a strong foundation. And in my opinion, that foundation is the foundation of having income that you can always depend on.
Most of the financial advisors focus on the accumulation phase because that's the one who brings most of the revenue to the firm.
I believe that the strongest retirement plans are created with creating a solid foundation for where your income is going to come from, and then building the rest of the plan in as low risk of a way as possible.
That's why it makes us slightly different than other firms, that we focus on the distribution side, not the accumulation side. Distribution side is the most important part of the time because you're retired and you want to make sure you have all the income coming in.
While you're working, you're always just juggling money coming in and money going out. And when you retire, that doesn't really change. It's still very much about income coming in and expenses going out. What changes is where that income is actually going to come from. What we focus on is making sure that we can walk somebody from A to Z through their income, their investments, their insurance, their estate planning, their tax planning, and really wrap it all together in an easy to understand way that truly is focused on educating.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Speaks, joined today by Prashant 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗦𝗦 of Elite Income Advisors, as well as Gary 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗔𝗠𝗣𝗦, all the way from Chattanooga, Tennessee, with Guardian Investment Advisors. A lot to get out there, right? I mean, well, gentlemen, obviously just an amazing show that we're having today. And Gary, thank you again so very much for traveling all the way from Chattanooga to be with us.
My pleasure.
Just amazing.
Love this guy.
I know. I love both of you. You're amazing. So, Prashant, I wanted to ask you a question. Obviously, people talk about the importance of having a team in place. And I'm asking you this because you hear a lot of people come in and say, you know what, I'm working with one person, but when I need to have like healthcare or something else mixed in, they're telling me to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, how important is it to have a team in place?
I think it's so important because it's overwhelming. If you're not in this world every single day of planning for retirement, it's overwhelming to think about, to try to navigate through. And the last thing you want to hear from your financial advisor is, okay, here's my recommendation on X, Y, and Z. Go talk to your CPA and let's see what they have to say. And then when they're done, why don't you come back to me and then we can talk about whether we should implement, then take it all to the estate planner. To me, it's got to be easier. There has to be a better way. And that's why it's so important to have a team. But the team has to work together. It's okay to have different professionals involved with the planning process, but you got to make sure all these professionals are on the same page. How often do you have people come into your office and, quite frankly, complain that, you know, their current advisor told them that they have to go 3 other places to get this comprehensive plan done?
It happens all the time. I've got a guy right now who came to us from our TV show, and he said, Gary, my advisor's asking me nothing. He goes, you were talking about Roth conversions and life insurance and tax planning. I've had to go to him and ask for those things for me.
Wow.
And so in my personal opinion, that advisor's not being a fiduciary. He's not looking out for his best interest. And that happens a lot, Prashant. It's amazing. You mentioned a word a few minutes ago, and you mentioned a word. You mentioned the word confidence, and you mentioned the word navigate. You know, putting a plan together, this puzzle is hard. And so many moving parts, right?
You're right.
It's a difficult puzzle, but you guys have surrounded yourself with professionals, team experts, you know, at your firm, and you guys can help everybody with every single situation. It's what we've done in Chattanooga as well, and it's a blessing.
And I think it shows, right? I mean, we have so many callers call in every single week. I feel like we get, you know, 10, 20, 30 calls every single week. And people come in and visit with us, and what's great about our show and the interactions we get with our viewership is they come in and they tell us exactly what they're concerned about, right? And by far, it's income planning, like we talked about in segment 1, and number 2, it's the feeling of being overwhelmed by the planning process. Because at the end of the day, look, you don't know what you don't know.
It's true.
And you need somebody to help you through that.
So are you finding in Baltimore, when people come in, are they concerned about health care? Are they concerned about getting sick at all?
So I think people, from a macro perspective, are concerned about health care. Okay. Where I think it falls short on the planning side is that they don't know where to go to get the answers that they need. Like you talk about Medicare. We could do a Medicare seminar probably for 2 or 3 hours just breaking down Medicare.
Absolutely.
How is the person who has a full-time job working 40, 50, 60 hours a week supposed to dedicate the amount of time and energy that is required to figure that part of it out?
It's true.
Right? Wouldn't you rather just go in, meet with a specialist who could educate you on that? And then once you have the knowledge, you'll make the best decisions for yourself. Our viewership, they're really sharp.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think all that they are lacking is the information required to be empowered to make those great decisions.
They're lacking the confidence you talked about.
Yeah,
they're not confident in their current plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I got into this business 27 years ago, Prashant, and what I used to do was sell long-term care insurance.
Yeah, right.
Back then, the chances of one of us needing long-term care insurance was 33%. As of today, that number is now 70%.
Wow.
70% of us,
oh my,
two out of three of us
Yeah.
are going to need some type of long-term care. And if you don't have this plan set up, then you get sick, it's going to wipe out your whole portfolio. And here's what it's going to do. It's going to stress out your children.
Yep.
You're stress out your spouse. You got it. Healthcare has to be part of the equation when you're talking about a successful retirement plan.
Sure.
That's definitely right. And the example I always use is, what if you did your job? You did what you were supposed to do. You saved $1 million or $2 million. I don't care what anyone says. Where I'm from, $1 million, $2 million is still a lot of money.
That's
Absolutely.
a lot
It
of
might
money.
not be what it might not be what
Absolutely.
it might not be what it used to be, but
Right.
it's still a heck of an accomplishment.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But I love the long-term care example you brought up, because we go back to this tax conversation, and this is why I think all this stuff is interconnected.
Right.
Yes.
Is in this one example that I always talk about. You save $2 million. It's all in your 401k.
Okay.
And now, heaven forbid, you get sick, and now you got to go to a nursing home, and it costs you $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month. I mean, my mom's in long-term care right now. We take care of her at home. It costs $10,000 after tax per month to fund mom's care.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when you think about that, on your $2 million, every time you withdraw to get to $10,000 a month, what do you have to do?
Pay taxes.
Pay
You got to
taxes
pay
on
Uncle
it.
Sam. And so I
Absolutely.
actually need like $15,000
Yeah.
just to net 10. If I'm withdrawing $15,000 a month off of $2 million and the market crashes at the same time,
man.
Wow.
is there a big chance that I'm going to run out of money?
Yes.
Absolutely.
This is what our viewership faces every single day. It's a huge concern, and you have to be able to deal with it. A great way to deal with it is to talk about bucketing your money, having safe money, so that when markets go crazy, you're not going to be affected and you're going to be well protected. That is a part of the Retire Smart road mapping process. Folks, I know that you're concerned about this stuff. Come on in, visit with us, put that plan together so that you understand where your retirement paycheck is coming from, whether or not you are protected against the threat of rising taxes and long-term care. It starts with that phone call, 833-308-5200. You can also pull out your smartphone and scan the QR code and book your appointment that way.
Prashant, thank you so much. And Gary, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here today.
So much fun.
To our viewers at Retire Smart Maryland, thank you. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We'll see you back here 1 week from today. Take care now.